Okay, so I'm not, because I need to share it to my page, but I don't see how to get over to Facebook, and I don't. Could y'all tag me right quick?
Okay.
Tag my
I'll
page on
tag you in
Facebook,
it.
because y'all know this technology stuff is not what I do. But
I
first, let me
got you.
say thank you. First, let me start out by saying thank you for even noticing me. CC, we used to work out at the gym together, and
Yes.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for any opportunity that's available for me to be heard. I'm Cyndi Renee, and like she said, I'm newly mom to this gun violence thing. I've been in the industry for over 20 plus years. Not only am I a master cosmetologist, but I'm also a master educator as well. Um, and so, like she said, I'm a new author. I decided, to drop the book. What better time than now? Drop the book. I've been consulting, working in my coaching business for over a year now. And y'all, I'm just living life. Um, just living life.
Well, you look good. Life is looking good on you through
Thank you.
everything that you're going through. Your smile has always been an amazing smile to me. I know this time, and I'm not even going to say I know because I don't. I'm not even going to play those words, but um, through this, I've watched, one of the things, and I'm just going in having a conversation with you, Cindy. I've watched your emotions be on a roller coaster. And you know what? Me being in mortuary school, we had to go through grieving counseling, right? And they talked a lot about like how grieving is. And I know some people really, really try to suppress it and try to give a picture, a cute picture for social media. But I just want to applaud you for letting your emotions, because you were already a social media person. So you didn't like go blank away. You like still stayed out there and showed your mad, evil, sad, happy. When I tell you across the board, girl, I was just applauding you. I was like, yes, let it out. However, God is going to let you grieve, let it out. Talk about it a little bit.
Well, the interesting thing about me is that I have never really been an emotional type person. Um, I took an acting class years ago, and when you're acting, you're supposed to become someone else, their character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't tap in. I couldn't tap in. So the emotional side, I think it's something I always shied away from because I wanted to protect myself, as a single mom raising my kids alone. So emotions wasn't important to me. I just knew I had 3 kids that I had to take care of, and I mean, that was it. But when this situation right here happened, I experienced every one of them, and I experienced every one of them daily. And what I have realized is
Yes.
that it's a daily walk, it's a daily journey. I found myself praying this morning, and while I was praying, I was praying and I was talking to God, and I was like, God, get me through. And I was getting ready to say, I don't even remember what I was getting ready to say, but it was going to be, farther than today. But I said, just get me through today. So I'm realizing that each day is a different walk. But each day I'm approached with a different emotion, depending on where I allow my mind to take me through, has a lot to do with how I feel. The anger. I find myself getting very angry at the situation because when something like this tragic happens, when it happened to me, the first thing I asked was, how did I get here? How did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, single parent, I moved down to the south side because I knew that they had better schools. Uh, Brought them up in church, world changers. My youngest son went to military school because this is what I wanted to prevent, right? And so, one thing my son told me was that military school helped him to become a thinker. He went in at the age of 16. He was gone about maybe 5 or 6 months. And what Cece don't know is that I would work out, and I have always had a trainer whenever I decided I wanted to get fit, but I will only do 3 months and I'll stop. And so when my son committed to military school at the age of 16, he gave me the motivation and the drive to keep going. And so I think I worked out for like 2 years at Effect Fitness before I stopped. Yeah. And it was because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this emotional roller coaster comes with knowing, you know, I taught him. I know I raised a great kid. Everything that everybody is saying is simply amazing about him. At one point, I was angry, and I think I was I was emotional, and I said that um, I raised a legend, and I said that the other moms raised the killer. And because I know God, and because I'm familiar with the Holy Spirit, I was immediately rebuked. Because what I realized is that by the time you raise your kids and they become adults or young adults and they enter into the world, they do what they do. Whoever,
Mm-hmm.
influence them, persuade them. And so I had to repent for that one. I had to repent because even though I'm hurting and grieving because my son is no longer here on the physical plane, the mothers who have to go through this process, this long drawn out process, knowing that your child is a murderer or a killer, it has to be really detrimental. Just knowing that you raised a child and that they would even commit such act has to
Yeah.
be heartbreaking. And so I had to repent because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very understandable. I can remember at the when my son started acting like real funny and out there and wanted to be in the streets. And I can remember my prayer that night was, you know what, God, the the state said at 18 he's grown.
Mm.
You said that I could have him and I'm his mother, but I'm gonna have to give him over to you because technically he is grown. And
Mm.
I need to sleep at night. This is the point where he's making his own decisions. So it is a point in your life as a mother that you have to find that way of letting go. And sometimes, I'm not gonna say all the time, sometimes is they're reflective of who how they were raised.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can look from the perception of how kids, you think kids are being raised from the perception of their parents, but nobody really knows what's going on in the house. I mean, these parents, people's kids, they could be working hard, make a lot of money, live in nice houses, and come out and still be kids that murder somebody,
Villains.
kids that are in gangs. Like
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, a lot of these gangs, these urban parents raising suburban kids, and suburban kids want to be in gangs. How you live in these big houses and you in a gang? Gang started in the hood when it was nothing to fight for. You were fighting for scraps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now y'all out here rocking everything and having everything and calling yourself in a gang. It just don't make sense to me.
Right.
But it's a time where we as mothers
Yes.
have to let go and let God. And so, you know, not that you shouldn't have felt the way you felt, but to, congratulate you on again for having a real moment of repenting for talking about someone else's child, through it, through your hurt, through your pain. Like you got to really pat yourself on the back, Cyndi, for being able to acknowledge those things this early.
Yes. And just
This
being
early.
able to feel comfortable having the outburst, because unfortunately sometimes when there aren't any outbursts, you stay within your shell and people don't really get to see who you really are. And I do remember you telling us in the gym, y'all, I've never worked out past 3 months, so to see you go through that journey, it's impeccable. Because again, y'all, it was early morning. We did it faithfully, and we didn't realize we were each other's accountability partner, because to see each other at the gym, it's like,
Mhm.
you got to show up the next day. So I'll definitely tell you, I'm happy you publicly did, do your repentance, but outbursts are needed a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we're afraid to do that on social media because, again, we just want the perfect picture of social media. But the outburst and to be able to feel your sentiment when it happened. And then also just to hear you saying, y'all, I don't know what to feel. I couldn't imagine what to feel. I mean, I can't tell you what that feel like. But as I saw you go through and as I continued to pray for you, I felt your hurt. I felt your pain. And then also just to see the real side. I know who you really are. I mean, I've been to one of your parties where you, your kids, and your family have engaged, and I know you love your kids. I know you ride for your kids and your family. So just to see that, the first thing I said was she loves her family. She loves her kids. And your kids have been around when I've been at one of your parties at your salon. Your mom has been around. So I applaud you on that. And don't try to shape yourself for social media because you got just as much attention for the people who wanted to hear you outburst than the people who, what's wrong with her? You don't know my pain. You don't know my sentiment. You don't know this feeling unless you've experienced this. So I applaud you for your outburst.
Yes, yes. I really am. That was one of the biggest things that I noticed through this journey. And then I started seeing the dropping of the book. I
Mm.
was like,
Sparked the
whoa, wait a
baby. It
minute now.
sparked the.
So I know how long a book takes. So I said, okay, so the book was in motion before this happened. And this was the best time that I saw. I was like, oh, she did it. She did it. Like, let me grow through this pain. So tell
Mm.
us about the book a little bit.
So I started my book right at the beginning of the summer last year, somewhere around that time. I knew, you know, when you become an author, it puts you in a whole different bracket, you know, as far
Mm.
as, being accountable for what you say. And so I always knew that I wanted to write a book. I just never knew how. You know, if you go through the different years of my life, it's very interesting. And so in order to write a book like that, to that magnitude, that would take a long time. But
Right.
I had this amazing writer's coach, and she helped me on this journey. Now, she didn't spoon feed me. I had to get it, right? And so I had to get quiet within. I had already started the process, and my goal was to drop it after my son passed away. Um, it was supposed to be for his birthday, which was December the 8th. And I had put something out there towards the end, my last few uh, chapters, and they sent it back. It was like, no, I mean, it's not complete. It wasn't even making sense. And so I guess I was writing from a space of, they say you have a foggy brain when tragic
Mhm.
happened. And so I was writing from that place, and I don't know what I was writing. I just wanted to produce it by my son's birthday. It didn't happen. It didn't happen by my birthday. And so I just had to just really do what I did when I found out about my son. October 28th, when I got the call, my son was actually killed on a Friday night. I didn't find out until Saturday night. As far as the worry, the fear, the thinking, the thoughts, you know, I had got over that. I started on my personal development journey over about 4 or 5 years ago. And I start understanding that my thoughts projected my reality.
Mm.
And so I had to change my thought process. And that's what helped me. The worry, the fear, I didn't have that. I knew how to just focus on what I wanted. Um, when my son passed away, I took 30 days off from working, which was in November. Um, and then I realized that at places that it's one or two things that's going to happen.
Okay.
I'm going to stop and die spiritually, or I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep going.
Mhm.
Mm.
And so I decided to keep going. And then I can always see his smile and just, hear his voice, how he wouldn't want me to quit. None of my kids would want me to quit. And so I decided to take my time and write that book. But what I had to do, I had to go within. I had to quiet my mind. I had to meditate and I had to pray. And then I got started. And so the best words out of my coach's mouth was, "Oh, you're live." When she uploaded everything and launched it, yeah, those were the best words that I heard from her. Just
Oh,
Release It is the name of my book. And y'all, believe it or not, my book is some of my journey. And what I realized is that when I was proofing my book, it was speaking to me in this season.
hmm.
It's okay.
Take your
Listen,
time. Take your time.
take
Take
your
My
your
coach
time.
time.
said, she said, it's prophetic. She said, your book is prophetic. Because what people don't know is that I know that I was created for a greater purpose.
Mm,
And I say that because by now, oh, my mind's supposed to be gone. I supposed to be, I lost my mind. And I say that because when my youngest son was 13, his father was murdered.
Mm.
6 months later, my oldest son's father passed away from complications in the hospital. Last year, March, my grandson, which is a twin, my daughter had them at 22 weeks, he passed away.
mm.
And then in June, my father passed away. And then here it hits October. But none of them feel like this one. I realized that when I was reading the proof in my book and I start reading the part about death, I was like, dang, this
Mm,
book is really talking to me.
Mm.
I have this one lady that I've met via social media, and sometimes people could prejudge or miss out. And if you ever got on one of my lives, and I think recently I did a live and I talked about entering into the spirit of. And what I realized on my journey is that when you enter into the spirit of that person, of that book, you become one with them. And it prevents you from being judgmental, right? You're just entering in with your open heart. And you're able to receive from that person. You're able to understand the message or the things in which they put in that book. And so this young lady I've met recently just on social media because she's always on my lives. If she don't get on, she doesn't replay them. She's looking for me to come on. And because of that, I really appreciate her. But this is what she told me today. She left me a voice message on Facebook, and I was having one of my moments. And what she said was, this is a grown woman's book. And she said, I got it at the right time because before now, I wouldn't have been ready for it. And it takes you to just really go through life, and it takes you to just really want more and understand why we're really truly created
mm,
to understand that book.
Mm.
It's quick. I created that book from a hairstylist mindset. We don't want to read all day. And I'm the type of person, I'm result driven. Give me something. What's going to help me now? People always talk about pray. Pray what? We want to see right now. Right now. How can I get some release right now? You
Right.
understand? And so prayer isn't magic because if it was, we'll all be praying and just waiting right there for it to happen. So you have
Right.
to have faith and you have to believe and you have to be patient, right? When it
mm,
comes to praying. But we want that microwave right now. And so when I created Just Release It, it was with women in mind like myself. Maybe
Mm.
you've been through some pain. Maybe you've been on a journey of heartache. It could be from a relationship. It could be from your children. Anything traumatic. Maybe something your parents did. Maybe you was molested when you were younger. I don't know. But because of the pain,
mm,
we disengage. We put it on the back burner. We don't confront it. And what end up happening is it prevent us from going to our next level. And so Just Release It was birthed out of pain,
Mhm.
but it's also so that women can take their power back.
Mm.
If I release it, if I walk into purpose, right? If I know what the signs look like, if I know someone tangible just like me who've experienced the same thing, right? It has to be true. They watch me, they look at me. Days, and like I told them, I've been going live for the last 19 days. And it's because I made a commitment with my accountability group. Sometimes I go on live, sometimes I won't. Because in my mind, I'm thinking what I got to talk about today. But for the
Right.
last 19 days, I've been showing up. And I just feel like this. At this point, I'm not gonna shut up. They either gonna
Mm.
unfollow me or they gonna follow me because I got something to say. And however it's orchestrated, however it's supposed to come out, that's what I'm surrendering to. And so this morning I said, God, I need you to help me define my why today. Because my youngest son at this point was my why. His energy, I feed off him, he feed off me.
Mm.
You know, he'll call me, Mom. The same way he called me, that's the same way he texts me, Mom. You know, and just to know that it's no more.
Mm.
And because I'm spiritual, because I understand that we just live in his body, it's kind of it's different for me from what I'm experiencing. And I think that's what's helping me also because when I'm in the spirit, I'm good. But when the carnal mind, when this flesh want to take over, that's when I'm hit with reality. And I have to face what we think is reality, but it's only what I have considered as an illusion. Because this thing here, if we're all going to go, if we all have to die, if we all have to leave this earth, one of the things I don't understand is why people don't talk about it. Why they don't we don't know how to deal the most detrimental thing, the thing that can take you out in seconds, they don't talk about it.
That's amazing
When
you
guy,
say that, Cyndi. I
huh?
was saying that's amazing you say that. Do you believe on Saturday we were talking about that in the salon barbershop type? So we just had a death into the salon,
I saw
and
that.
we had his picture. We had his picture on the station. Now, as a business owner, that took a lot for us to. We have had his station covered for a month. And my partner was like, okay, yeah, I think it's time to take it down, but I don't want people to feel like, you know, we removing him. And I'm like, we're not removing him. You can't remove him. I said, but we're running a business. And so, they were, men and women, they all crack jokes in the salon. And so everybody was like, so, oh, how y'all want to go? What y'all want to do? What y'all want to be like in death? And somebody was like, why are we talking about death? I said, because it's going to happen.
Yes.
It's inevitable. It's something that people don't like to talk about, but why? You like to talk about all this stuff that we could do that could kill us, so why we can't talk about it? So, that you brought that up. It's like, why don't we talk about it? What's the fear of it? Is it the fear of the hurt that comes along with it? Or is it fear of missing out or something? Or are you concerned about your dash?
It's denial.
Mm-hmm.
You think that, oh, this is not gonna happen. As a Christian, I believe that oftentimes I feel that we are misled.
Mm.
Um, you pray, you believe God, you trust God, and then you feel like, oh, I'm good because I'm covered. Oh, I got on my full armor. I'm good.
Mm.
And that was once me. I don't need life insurance. I'm covered. I'm good. This when my kids was younger, you know. And then being a single parent and you looking at the money coming out your account, you're like, we don't need that. And so just one day, um, it was a reality check for me. And I think what it does, it makes you face something that you don't want to face, which is natural, right? And so just on this journey, I just had to really understand who I am. You can pray, you can believe, but stuff happens. I am that parent that shampoo my kids' hair and they don't even know. I'm pleading the blood of Jesus. I'm rebuking the death angel. I'm a believer. God, I trust you. God, I ain't fearful. I ain't stressed. I ain't worried
Mm.
no more. And then I get that call. And the
Mm.
call was to come to the office. You know, that's the worst call any parent could ever get. And not only when you kill someone, you just stop them from their physical growth, because in the spiritual realm, it's still going to manifest.
Yes.
But it affects the family. 2 days after that happened, my mom had to, they didn't want me to know, but she had to go into the hospital and have 2 stents put in her heart.
Mm.
I have never had anxiety ever. When I tell y'all, out of the middle of nowhere, it is my heart will just start pounding real. It'll just start pounding. It'll just start pounding. And
Mm.
even the thoughts, they just come in, the visions. And, when you're creative, you see, we going to see images first. And I see my son. I see my son when he was in that casket. I see my son with the look he had on his face. When I saw my son to go view his body on that Thursday, and I don't believe in funerals. I don't believe in funerals. I allowed them to view him because of his kids, his siblings, my mom, my family, his uncle, my cousins, you know. Um, but when I saw him, I said, he knew them. When I saw my son's face, I said he knew them.
Mm.
I didn't know nothing. They wanted to ask me all them questions. I said, could I just go home? But I knew from my son's face, my son was disappointed because and y'all, I'm sorry, but these niggas, he trusted these niggas. He trusted them. And they coerced my son. They coerced him. My son is about his business. My son worked. My son, he had been working tip jobs, other than FedEx and them jobs that don't really pay you. But he finally landed a full-time job at the concrete place around the corner. He was on his way. He was like, Mom, I feel good. This
Mm.
is my son. Mom, I feel good. He said, oh, I got me a job. Now I'm going to get me a car. And I'm like, yes. And I cheer him on, and he's always excited. And he was on his way that night to the studio, him and his friend. And and I didn't find this out, y'all, till after. He was on his way to the studio. Him and his friend, the same friend that got killed with him, it was a double homicide.
Oh.
They were on their way to the studio, and somehow they ended up. I still don't know how they coerced him to get to where he got over there. First of all, my son, he GQ. He gonna keep his nails together. He gonna keep his hair together. He gonna put his clothes on. He gonna put his cologne on. Number one. Even though I grew up younger on Section 8, we stayed in gated communities. You would have never known unless I told you. Because my business was my business. And growing up, my kids thought that we were rich. They thought we had money. Because I never complained and I never made life seem like it was a struggle for me. And he ended up in them apartments. And the first thing I said was, what the hell he doing up here?
Mm.
So whatever they said to him, whatever they texted in their phone, whatever they did, and it's so funny because they're still investigating. It was one guy that set it up, and it's two shooters. Two shooters. So they got the guy who set it up. And see, I'm the type, let me see them. Let me see your friends. Cause see, I can tap in and I can tell if they hit on something or not. But I never met this little boy. But this little boy, y'all, he was only 17.
Are you
The one who
serious?
set it up. He knew my son from my grandkids' neighborhood where their grandmother lived. And so if you ask me, he was more like a little brother to my son. They killed my son for his gun.
I was
They
going to
robbed
say
him for a gun.
that was what they wanted. They just wanted a gun.
Girl, he went, hello Meredith.
Hey,
He
pretty.
snatched, so he went to my son and tried to snatch his gun, right? I don't know if at that point he got the gun. I don't know. But from what the detective said, my son and his friend were whooping that ass. They were whooping that ass. And apparently the boys in the back knew they were next. So my son was shot in the back. The coward shot my son in the back. And they didn't shoot him just one time. They wanted to kill him. They shot him several times.
Mm.
And as a mom, I'm that one. I'm pulling up. I'm finna ride. What's up? And not saying that I'm gangsta. I'm finna get in no trouble. But anything, I'm finna go see what's going on. Come on, let's go. I'm finna put the fire out. So they'll call me any day. But for this particular day, and I think the reason why my heart keep hurting because I feel like I could not help my son.
Mm.
And in my head, all I hear is "Ma." But what God told me that night was, He said I protected him, and he did not suffer.
Mm.
And I have to go back to them words to find my peace. I was talking to my husband the other day, and I told my husband, I said, and I remember I was talking about my daughter's one of her good friends. She got hit by a truck when she was 16, and she don't remember. And then God reminded me that your mind shut down to protect you from the trauma, so you won't
Mm.
know after the fact. So what I got was my son didn't know about the trauma, and because he didn't suffer and it was instant, he don't even know he went through that.
Mm.
Mercy.
And I find my peace in that. But for anyone, y'all, I don't understand because I'm at mom against guns. My son only had a gun for protection. And if my son was that type of kid, if you walk up on somebody with a gun, you try to snatch their gun, they gonna shoot your ass. But my
Mm.
son fought him because he ain't that type of kid. He got that gun to protect him from niggas in the street, strangers in the street. Not nobody who I consider as around the way, maybe a little bro, because you ain't never 17.
Yeah.
My son's birthday was December the 8th, he would have been 22. I turned 50 on December 23rd. And my only goal was to have all my kids present.
Mm.
And for my son not to be here physical on my birthday. Yeah, it's a journey. It's a
Yeah.
journey. And I have been connected with so many different women and so many moms that hurt. I'm grateful that they were caught and they got leads and they know what's going on. Because a lot of parents lose their kids. They shoot up in houses. They shoot up just in crowds. You understand? And they never know who pulled the
Yeah.
trigger. So we have to grieve. I'm grieving, right? And it's no closure because we're going through the process. Any day, my advocate could call me. Any day, the prosecutor could call me. Any day, the investigator can call me. We got to start going to court, and it's going to be long, drawn out. So on my journey, this is part of my new process, my new norm. And I'm grateful for the people that have been really patient with me. I don't think that I snap and go off. You know, I might have my moods, but I think I'm doing really good to
You
have been
are.
dealing with so much. To have been
Yeah.
dealing with so much.
Someone
So
asked,
my
Cyndi,
uh-huh.
um, someone asked was, will knowing the full story give you peace? And I'm gonna let you answer that. But I also had a client whose husband was killed by an Uber driver um, in 2019. And literally, she just went to court in January to see. all the pictures to see everything.
I'm not.
So I don't think that it's there's a piece until like I
So
don't know what kind of piece you would get. So do you
I'm
think?
not. I'm not. Um,
Mm.
I know that because I saw my son in that casket. I don't believe
Mhm.
in funerals. I believe
Okay.
that funerals are inflicted torment,
Hmm.
especially if you're visual like me. I'm visual, so I see images first,
Hmm.
and I thought about that. And when we do go to court, I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be out in the courtroom because if they play that in my head, if I know that my baby detail from detail what he went through,
Mm.
I might leap up on one of them niggas. That's when I get angry because everybody who knows my son knows that he wouldn't hurt nobody. He was about his music. He was about working. He knew God. You know, he'll talk to people and they don't believe. They be like, Mom, they don't even believe in God. I said, babe, it's okay. Just pray for him and just let your light shine, you know. But he knew. He loved his kids. He loved his Whitney. You know, his baby mama. I call her Whitney. They had a Whitney and Bible relationship without the drugs, you know. Well, he loved her, you know. Um, he loved his brother. He loved his sister, my mom, you know, my brother and my niece, my nephew, and my um, cousin, which I raised her when she was young. I used to be a foster parent. I used to be a foster parent. And I raised her, and they just really been a great support. They got this group chat, and you know they check on me. They make sure I'm good, you know. And it's different, but you know, like they say, you don't know the pain
Mm.
if it's not you. And I, you know, I'm a researcher, and I realized that depending on how close you are to that person, and so I described it as an onion, and because I'm the core, it affects me the most.
Mm.
I'm the mom, and then his siblings, and everybody else is affected, but no one gets it like me. Because after a while, they'll remember, but they'll forget. They'll remember, and then they'll forget. But this will be with me until I leave this earth. And my question was, you mean to tell me I have to live the remaining of my years on this earth without my child? And so when they tried to rob him, I would have bought him a gun. But he was 17, he knew he couldn't have one. And people who still think that people are just like them. So you wanted my son's gun, but my son was registered. His gun was registered. My son went to the gun range. He knew what to do because they know I was against all that. You're 17. You just got out of jail from being caught with a gun. They took the gun, and then you want to go get somebody else's gun. And what I don't understand about our culture is one, they always talking about snitching. What is snitching? See, if we live life based on the principles in which God gave us, and it's two that I'm gonna hit. One is love. God asks
Hmm.
us to love our neighbors like we love ourselves.
That's right.
Right.
And if you love everyone, there's no envious, there's no jealousy, there's no competition, right? In the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. It's real simple. So all this other stuff that has been created, I'm against all that. I'm against power to the people, black power. I'm against anything that's prejudice. Now, we weren't born prejudiced. We were born, we was taught that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So people that hate and prejudice, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'ma
Uh-uh.
still let my light shine.
Right.
And that's the type of decision I made throughout my life on my journey. I'ma love
Mhm.
regardless. That's between you and God. I'ma
Yeah.
stay away from you, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. And I
Yeah.
treat people how I want to be treated.
Well, you know that golden rule, what you was just saying, treat people how you want to be treated. The problem with that, Cindy, is that some people don't know how they want to be treated. Or
Exactly.
some people think that let's go for young females. They think beating on me and cussing me out is to show love. So if you're not doing that to me, you must not love me, because that's what they've seen. That's what they've been taught. So even these young boys in the street, if we ain't out here trying to go and fight and find somebody, man, you lame, you ain't even trying to hang right with us. They don't even know how they want to be treated.
You
That's
know what I
somebody
realized?
who knows their self.
And so this is what I realized. The reason
Tell
why
me.
they don't know how to treat other people is because they lack self-love.
Yeah, that's
I
exactly
was
it.
just about
They
to
That's
say
lack
they
exactly
they
it.
lack
lack it.
love.
Yeah,
They
they
lack
don't know what
self-love.
it's.
And
Yeah,
let me tell you what I realized when I became a consultant. And I'm gonna talk about our culture because I don't know about nobody else.
right.
We'll buy and do everything. We'll go to school, get degrees, we'll buy shoes, bags, whatever. But we would not invest in ourselves.
Mhm.
Personal development is key because in personal development, you learn how we're really supposed to live this life. How we're really supposed to live this life. I'm talking about attitude. I'm talking about being able to set goals and just knowing how to increase your self-confidence. It's
Right.
amazing. We lack that. We
Hmm.
repeat the same cycles and
Yes.
we get the same results in life. We repeat the same cycles and we get the same results. And we
Yeah.
want to know what's going on. We want to blame everyone else. But if you take accountability and take responsibility for your actions, then life will change. That's why I wrote that book. Just release it. They did it to you, you release it. Because
That's
when
it.
you
Listen,
hold on to it, it's as if you're drinking poison yourself.
listen. I know CC know Craig Oliver's statement. That's one of his. Drinking unforgiveness is
Yes.
drinking poison, expecting the other
Poisonous.
person to die. That's not going to happen. If you do not forgive people, and let me tell you, on the level of diseases and illness and sickness in your body,
Mm.
you don't forgive people, you don't release that grudge that you have for people, you manifest that illness
Yes.
inside of
Yes.
your body. It sits inside of you. Let me tell you, I went
Mm.
through trauma as a young girl. Most trauma a lot of young girls probably went through. I forgave that man a long time ago. I don't know what made me do that so early on. I didn't know. But my friends, I'm the friend that they was like, here come Miss Forgiveness, here come the angel's advocate. That's what I call myself, the angel's advocate. Because I don't hold on to stuff. I'm
Mm.
not holding on to no grudges. And I was a true Scorpio at one point. So Scorpios would like grudge holding, vengeance. Honey, when I realized vengeance was the Lord, and I couldn't even get to the height of what God could do to who did what to me, to whatever, I was like, no, I cannot walk around with all of this aggression and just anger inside of me. I just couldn't do it. So with that, I tell people, let it go. And the other thing is, 9 times out of 10, the person you holding a grudge against don't even know you still got it against them. They done moved on with life.
Let me tell you what I realized though, because you said something about manifesting and all of that.
Hmm.
And I just really, y'all, I'm the realist and God give me visions and y'all, I'm telling y'all. And so and I'm gonna break it to you plain just like this. Have y'all ever went to event out on Auburn Avenue or in the park or anywhere? And have y'all ever seen a crackhead, right?
Hmm.
Mm.
And y'all know
Mm-hmm.
how crackhead have this type of, they all got the same spirit, right? They all do the same thing. And if
And
you
free.
look at them from a spiritual perspective, they all look the same. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at an alcoholic, the same way. So what I have realized is this right here. What the younger generation don't understand, and it's grown people too, because a man killed a lady out here in Henry County not too long ago. So, however, but I'm talking about this spirit. But just imagine, And y'all know those some of the deadly sins.
Yep.
And so when you kill a person, you have then just allowed a death spirit to hover over you. Now tap into the spirit for a minute. So now you got this death spirit following you everywhere you go. That's a whole bunch of negative energy. You on a very low vibration. And you're only going to attract more of that into your life. So if you go out there and somebody knock your head off, and it ain't me, that's law. You reap what you sow.
Mm-hmm.
If you kill somebody, that's a seed that you have sown. It's coming back karma. I heard this lady today, this Asian lady in the store talking this other day. She said, oh, karma, yes, she said karma will take care of them. It sure will. It will definitely take care of them. But just imagine walking around with a spirit of a murderer on you.
Hmm.
And what I have realized is this. If you shoot somebody to stop them, you're going to shoot them one time. When you shoot somebody to kill, you don't tap into a whole nother territory.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was going to say was this. I know my books, they just released it. And I said, God, how in the world I'm going to release this? It just happened to me, right? I know eventually I will get there because I don't hold grudges. But I do know on this journey of me healing, right now, I said, I just got to keep it 100. It ain't even crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want you to get everything. I want the max. If it ain't no death penalty, is there a lethal injection? And I already made it known. When I die, if I die before my kids, because if they don't get lethal injection, if it's still here, if they get life, when my head is cold, they're never to walk this earth again.
Mm.
Ever. Because not only you took him away from his two daughters, they'll never know their dad. They'll never know him. The only thing they have is memories. I wear this bracelet in memories of my son. I got to talk to my son through the clouds on a spiritual perspective. I'm liking up my hair, honoring him. Y'all know I'm with my short pixie platinum. But when I was in counseling, she asked me, what are you going to do for you? And this is it. I'm committing my hair to my son. My son loved his hair. He had long locks, long locks. And so this part of my healing process on my journey. But as long as I have breath in my body, yeah, I want them to get everything that's coming to them. And I want to say this to the young people if they on here. If you pull that trigger, you ain't about it, because if you was, you do the crime, do the time.
Mm-hmm.
Where they hide, right? They go hide. Now you scared. And then you manipulate people to make them think that if they tell on you, they snitches. Snitches, what they say, snitches get stitches. Give them to me, because I'm telling.
Facts.
Facts.
Don't do it around me, because I'm telling.
Me.
Listen. Listen. I used to always say, I ain't that ride or die chick. Don't come to me with your foolishness.
Don't come
I,
around me
I'm
with the
I'm a
foolishness.
Southern peach, honey. When they put that little thing on my finger and the thing across my heart, I'm getting to tell the truth. Just don't do it around me because listen, I ain't going to jail for no person, no
I'm
man.
telling.
And listen, I fight just on this battle right here to say if I would go for my child now, because you grown and you can make better decisions. So I mean, that's about the only person I still have like a maybe, but literally like. Ain't that, and guess what, Cyndi? Don't feel bad about what you want. Who
Exactly.
wouldn't want
I
the
feel
strongest, the
amazing. And I'm
max?
going to celebrate. I'm
Yes, who wouldn't
celebrating.
want the max for that? For
I'm
someone who,
celebrating.
yes,
This
and you
lady told
should.
me, I talked to her, she lost her son. She said, I forgive him. I don't.
Hmm.
I ain't even going to entertain any of that. Because I know as a single parent, I sacrificed.
That's
I
right.
invested in my children. I brought
Hmm.
them up the way the word said they should go. I
Mm-hmm.
know for a fact. I ain't even gonna say they ain't perfect because who perfect? But
Mm-hmm.
he'll never put a gun to nobody's head. He'll never rob nobody. You
Mm-hmm.
feel me? I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And her
And
timing is
so,
not your timing, Cyndi. So, I mean, and again,
Right.
like you
And
say,
that,
you have to channel through this on your timing. You have to channel through this on your timing because even just you releasing today, is not what you released some time ago on your page. So, like I say, I can only applaud you because again, you're firm in who you are. I mean, that's in everything that I've ever seen you even do. So, I'll definitely say everybody's timing is not the same, and the
yeah, I
sentiment of
don't,
how she feels is the way she feels.
yeah, I don't get why people, especially Christians, and I ain't gonna just say Christians. I take that back. Just I hate
People.
when people just get into a place of I've gotten here,
So
so
you
you
should.
don't get a chance to get there, so you should be here now. Like
Mm,
the pastor who downplayed was telling everybody was going to hell and need to repent if they was going to the Beyonce concert. Well, just a couple of years ago, 2014, 12, she had wrote a post about she had gone to the Beyonce concert and lived it up. And my thing was, whatever you feel that it is now, so you mean to tell me now that you're there, nobody gets to get a chance to get to that point? Like nobody gets a chance to grow to that point. Like just like
well,
you don't get a chance to get to a point of healing. You know why would she come at you and say you forgive? You shouldn't forgive at that time. That's not your
Crystal,
healing.
what it is what it is that religion brings separation.
Yes.
I don't
mm,
know. I know the philosophy that I have is
Mm-hmm.
facts. And I'm thinking, okay, God, what's up? You know, because if you ain't on no pulpit, if you ain't screaming and shouting, people don't receive you. But I know for a fact that religion brings division, and people are so judgmental.
mm,
Um, they run the people away from the church.
mm.
My son became a father at 16, the same one that passed away. I said in our years, he was 21. In God's years, he might have been an old man. My son had 2 kids by the time he passed away. But when my son got the little girl pregnant, and I found out, oh, I couldn't believe it because I'm like, how do you don't even go nowhere? How she get pregnant? You know. But you know what though? I never judged him. I did not beat him up. I supported my son. And no matter what my kids do, I support my kids. I remember when my son got the gun, when he first got it, he didn't tell me. Um, but my oldest son told me that they ended up going to the gun range. And I remember him and his girlfriend. And I remember when he came home, he was like, "Here, mama, touch your hold." I said, "No, get that thing away from me." Because, y'all, I was so in denial. I'm like, if somebody try to kill me, I'd be like, "Lord Jesus, they going to take my ass out." Right? So I told my son, "Get that thing away from me." But he wanted me to be comfortable and
Mm-hmm.
not
Yes.
be afraid
Yes.
of it.
Yes. And then he go to didn't you say he went to military
He
school?
went to no, he went to
Military
military
school.
school.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
my son was in. So I'm a proactive. My
Right.
son was in the 10th grade. He was
Mm-hmm.
at Morrow High School. He on the live. He don't. I don't take him to school and drop them off. He on the live somewhere smoking some weed. I said, "No, got it." So get what I did when it was time for him to get out of school. I went and picked him up, and I told him, I said, "As of this day, you won't come back here no more." I withdrew him that day.
Mm.
You coming home that day? I don't play with him. And so he ended up going to Faith Academy. It was a
Mm-hmm.
homeschool. And you know, he was the boy, ain't really doing what he's supposed to do. And girl, I done talked him into going to military school. Cause you know, you can't make them go.
No.
Hmm.
They have to want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So he ended up going there. But it was to prevent him, save him from these streets, making
Yes.
decisions, how these people have made these decisions, you know, to become a thinker. And that's what he taught me. It taught me how to think. And that's all I ever wanted you to do, to be a leader. And he was
Hmm.
definitely a leader. He was
Mm.
definitely a leader.
Yes.
They took a
Yes.
life. Their life should be took. Their penalty should be valid for the killers to get. I'm, let me tell you, baby, I'll get the petition started. Because I'm sure these moms will rock with me. And you
Yeah.
know what I said when it happened to my son? People have to be very careful.
Yeah.
And I say that because, you go through the phase. I went through this phase. I don't think I have expressed this, but I went through this phase. And it was quick. It's like I was embarrassed. I was thinking that, they judging my son, they judging me. And I was thinking that people was talking. And I went through that quick. And then it went away because those are the type of emotions that go on when you lose someone. And then you start
Hmm.
questioning your parenting skill. Then you start questioning your kid, you know. And I realized that people have to be careful. Because I'm going to tell you why. Because what I said was this. Remember, I'm in my salon now. I plead the blood of Jesus. I rebuke the deaf angels. My heart is pure. I'm always, when clients come here with stuff, I'm solution driven. I'm trying to help them solve the problem, give them strategy, boom, talking about God, whatever, right?
Hmm.
God, I'm doing what you got. How I get
Mm.
here? How I get here?
Facts.
So why people need to stop thinking higher than they ought to think, and thinking that they're so anointed, because anything can happen to anybody. And two, people need to not be judgmental and be gentle with how you treat people in this season, because nobody knows. Nobody knows. It can happen to any of us at any given time. And what this has showed me is that no one's exempt.
Yes.
You don't know the day, the time, nor the hour, because it just happens.
Facts.
Can't nobody say it was God, because that would be a lie.
Hmm.
It was an evil act, and they allowed the influences to overtake them to perform this type of act. And I don't blame God for this. Now, I might have asked him why you didn't protect him. But clearly, they shot him so many times. I don't know. No
But
one is exempt.
yeah.
No one.
Mm-mm. Yeah. No one is exempt. And listen, I just, once again, I say I applaud you for showing and going through the grieving emotion. Like, I think you birthed in the book number 2 through the levels of grieving. I when I tell you, like, reading me, knowing the knowledge that I got from grief counseling and watching you, even just on this live, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, thank you for living this out loud. Thank you for not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking any mothers that go into a deep depression, into a hiding. I'm not knocking anybody who grieves the way that they grieve. But this is a amazing woman who is grieving out loud. And so you
Yep.
said for the last 19 days, right? You've been
I've been going
live?
live.
You've been
And
going live?
speaking of book number 2, the second week after this happened, God dropped in my spirit, resurrect.
Mm.
Resurrect. Now, what does that
Hmm.
mean? Maybe it's a book.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, my life as Renee. That's
Hmm.
absolutely correct. Um, Hold on, let me grab my book.
Okay.
It's right here. Oh,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thank y'all so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, yes, yes.
Cyndi Renee is, I mean, What a message tonight for grieving mothers, fathers, siblings. I mean, she came on and really expressed her emotions. We talked about the book, and the book was just released, is the name. I mean, although it was just released is the name of it. Look at that. Look at that flyness. Honey, I see
Hey,
the effect fitness all over that picture.
Look, it's over this picture, but it might not be over me right now.
That's all right. that's that's all right, honey. That is okay.
Yes.
You that smile right there, that's enough. That's enough. And I told one of my clients who just lost her son about a month ago. I said it takes second by second, not even
oof,
day by day, and live in the moment of each moment, and it's there. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tell
Yes.
people where they can find your book.
Amazon just released it, you guys. Listen, book signing this Sunday in McDonough. You can follow me on Instagram at Cyndi Renee. I have the information for the book signing on my page. Y'all, it's gonna
Awesome.
be something a little different. I never done a book. Look, y'all, I just tell people I'm figuring it out along the way.
that's it.
And that's it.
And if you're gonna do anything that's worth doing, just do it. Who can
Just
tell you it's wrong? Just do
Say
it.
that again.
Yeah, just do it. And
Say
so,
that again.
yeah. But you can find me on Amazon. You can
Hmm.
also get it at Barnes and Nobles online. If you want
Okay.
me to sign it, I got you. I see you on Sunday.
I got you. Thank you so much,
congratulations.
Cyndi Renee.
Thank y'all
It
for
was an
having me.
amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you, for your book signing on Sunday. I'm gonna have to get you to sign my book another time. I won't be able to make it on
I know,
Sunday,
me
but
too.
I know we're gonna meet up and I'm gonna get my book signed. Once again, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, tonight for joining us. I know y'all follow Cyndi Renee. Please do. Please follow Straight from the Chair. Share,
Yes,
share, share. Well, our next guest next week is Dr. Garnes, Edward Garnes. He will be on next week. So I'm excited for the future for Cyndi Renee. I'm excited for the future for Straight from the Chair. And I thank you.
yes.
I thank you. I thank you. And until next week, 7 p.m.
Thank you.
See y'all later. Thank you so much, Sandy.
Thank you. Are we still live here?
Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, oh, we still live over here.
We are. Looks
Hmm.
like it. Yeah, I see them out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we can't edit all this. It's still live, Control.